Peace, peace, family. Happy spring equinox. You know what that means. Summer is almost here and sun is coming out for those who live in a more wintry side of the world. So, I wanted to talk about relationships today and how they affect us, what they mean for us, what's up with this whole repetitive cycle stuff that keeps happening for all of us. I think we all have experienced some sort of, hopefully, everything that I'm talking about today. Again, happy spring equinox. So, I'm really happy for that because with all the shifts that's been happening right now, we could use some sun, some vacation, some pool, beaches, all that good stuff. So let's get into it. I'm gonna try not to push this one too long, but you know how that go. So with all these changes going on, we're just so bound to just be so fruitful and receive so much. So please continue to have strength. Please continue to see your path and have clarity, and I hope this video brings that for you. Now, when it comes to relationships, spicy subject. I think a lot of us, we just misconstrued what relationships are. I've had a lot of these conversations in the past couple of days. I mean, it's Venus retrograde, so I kind of expected relationships to pop up a lot. You know, partnerships, friendships, it can be business oriented as well, you know. Friendships and partnerships and all of those things, they mean so many different things for us, and I'm going to have to take us back a little bit just so I can explain my perspective. You don't have to agree. You don't have to feel like it makes sense. This is just my understanding. So, our experience on Earth, we make the choice to come here. Obviously, it's a lot of star seeds that want to come here, so it's all about opportunity. It's all about who makes it to the opportunity. So, with that being said, we have to make sure everything's very calculated, which is what Earth is mostly about, you know, mathematics and strategic logic, all of those things. This is the learning center. So, when we come here, this is kind of a reason why, in religion, when people say that God has all the plans laid out for all of us, that everything's already written, you know, death is already written, everything that we go through is already written, and it's for a reason. That was them kind of trying to give us the answers, but, you know, we're awakening, so let's just be proud of that for now. So now when we come to Earth, or when we're on our way to come to Earth, we sign contracts, and we make plans on what we want to experience, what we want to come here to learn. We make contracts with people and other souls and spirits of when we're supposed to meet, what we're supposed to teach each other, what purpose we serve in each other's lives. You know, all of these things are written. All of these contracts are signed and made. They're already set out and they're already planned. So that also plays a huge part on when people say, you know, everything happens for a reason. There's no such thing in a coincidence, and it's because of this. But to level that out and to balance it out, that's why we were given free will. So that even though we have these contracts set, we can always break them, we can restart them, we can take them off, we can do whatever we want. You know, we still get the choice, but these things are still the foundation or the blueprint that we work with for the experience here. You know, a lot of people don't know that, so for those who do know, sometimes people decide to cut the cords early, end the contract earlier than they were supposed to, because sometimes the other person is just not getting their lessons, they're not learning. So it could be very draining on both parties or one party, so they'll choose to disconnect and I guess try again in another life wherever they reincarnate together or whatever the case may be. So now with that being said, that's where we have to look at our roles in all our relationships, all the people we meet, everything that happens in our lives. It's very important that you know what role people play in your lives. In the aspect that, no, everyone doesn't or isn't supposed to always give you something, but just in the aspect that we all serve a purpose for each other. Whether it's love, whether it's compassion, whether it's lessons, whether it is growth, whatever the case is, there is something written down for this thing that's happening. Then we also have to play into the fact of past lives. A lot of the people we come across here in this lifetime, we know from past lives, from multiple past lives, or one past life, or whatever the case is. It depends on how much your spirit has traveled and how much your spirit has experienced. So with that being said, sometimes this is what keeps us attached to certain people because we don't understand the connection. We just know that there's something deeper there. There's a deeper meaning to the relationship. So this is where we get attached to people that we're actually supposed to let go of, or we get attached to soulmates. These are who our soulmates are. These are people we reincarnate with multiple times, that we choose to come back together. We choose to experience things together. But sometimes, or mostly, well, actually, it's more so because we're awakening again, so we're relearning everything. So a lot of this comes from just unawareness, just plain old unawareness, and just not understanding like there's more to everything, that we actually make contracts for these things, and that these things exist. And of course these things exist in Akashic records. If you are not aware of it, this is where you can access these things to deal with cord cutting or understanding about your path, dealing with contracts and all of those stuff. So this is where it gets really tricky, because this is where we grow attachments for people, because sometimes with this unawareness you end up having feelings for this person, but sometimes that feeling is just the love you share from past lives and all the experiences you have gone through with this person. So this comes to explain cycles and why we tend to repeat cycles with people. You know, a lot of the times it's deeper than just a lesson. Sometimes you may have chosen to reconnect with a certain spirit, and you guys wanted to teach each other something very specific, which was written in your contract. So you guys would keep repeating this thing until you both successfully pull up your end of your bargain. So this can mean a lot of things for people, and it's okay, you know. We're learning, and that's all that matters right now. So let's see. Another perspective too is we're gonna have to, in these experiences, we're gonna have to recognize too and remember, this is our reality. This is our show. This is your show. You as an individual. So each person you encounter is also more than just a spirit that you may have encountered before. This is where it gets tricky, because you have to kind of look at everything in multiple perspectives. Sometimes you have to sit back and you have to realize nobody's real. Nobody but you. Yes, we share a collective consciousness. So yes, these souls do exist, but it's in your reality. We just share the consciousness, so this is how we're able to interact and meet each other and have these experiences, because of the collective consciousness. But at the end of the day, we share our reality with these souls, but we are experiencing it for ourselves. So technically, none of these people exist. So with that being said, sometimes the relationships repeat in cycles with different people as well, because the universe is trying to talk to you. Perfect example. If you're in a relationship where you feel like there's no communication, this person just can't make shit work, or you both just can't make it work, but you have such a strong tie and such a strong pull to each other, so it's complicated, because you know that these issues are not about you, or they're not big enough to separate or make you feel like you should separate from this person. And in that case, that's because you are reflections of each other. So for example, if you're a guy and you're dating a girl and you're spiritual, she's not, you're both struggling to make this mundane and spiritual relationship work, but you have a steady foundation, so you get confused of why you're having issues. In that predicament, that female is actually representing and reflecting your feminine side. So if you feel like there's blocked communication, there's probably blocked communication on your feminine side of yourself. So it may not. So that's where this comes from. The point of not everything is as simple or as small as you think. Most things have a bigger picture. So you're gonna view it as, oh, I just got relationship problems with this person. We can't seem to get it right. We do have a great foundation. There's tons of love between the two of us, but we just clash in certain things. And the communication fails us every time. So that's where you have to ask yourself, is my feminine side blocked? Is that what this relationship is trying to show me, that this feminine side is blocked? And vice versa, even with females. Sometimes it's trying to show you that your masculine side is being blocked. And this is why you keep repeating these type of relationship with these guys, because that masculine side needs some work. So this is where, again, it falls into why it's important to know what role everyone plays in your lives. Whether it's karmic. Because if it's karmic and it has to do with past lives, it's going to feel like this person is supposed to be the person for you, but they're not. But it's really hard to tell because you have so much past experiences with this person, and because your third eye or your crown chakra is not all the way there, that you can't decipher what this person means for you or what your relationship with this person means, you're going to just think that it's just a failing relationship that you have to fight for. You know, a lot of relationships are going to get confusing because of this. But again, that's where you also have to respect it, because this was already written out. You wanted it to happen that way. And even if it wasn't specifically written out that way, that's where parallel realities exist and different timelines exist, so that multiple realities can play out, so they can all have their cause and effect. So don't worry. I'm gonna try not to get too crazy up there. So let's keep going. Now, with that being said, we have to start viewing everything as either a lesson or it is what it is. There's never a failure. There's either growth or a lesson, but there's never failure. There's always something to learn, and there's always something to develop from, to gain a new perspective from. But nothing is ever a failure, so never view anything as a failure, ever. Ever, ever, ever. Now, with that also being said, this is where boundaries come in. Because our generation is just all the way, like, trying to figure out what we're doing, we've lost our sense of boundaries. Because we've gone too off rail to the point where we're a race or a type of human that we are very attached to a lot of things. So we tend to attach ourselves to the very best first thing that pops up. Not giving ourselves time to truly feel things out and to see where things stand in our lives or what things mean for us. So we have to start taking into account that not everything is what it is. That we have to start being realistic in the aspect of being present in the moment, because when you allow your mind to set expectations, when you allow yourself to go too ahead of yourself in the situation and start setting expectations, that's when you start losing those boundaries. Because now you're taking your perception of a reality and making it a reality over a reality that's already occurring. So what is that going to do? It's going to create problems. And then this is where we clash, and then relationships get messy, friendships get messy, business partnerships get messy, and we don't understand why. People who are very big on their frequency and more in the ego, they prey on people who are calm, grounded, and trying to get their lives together because they appear weak. So that's why we need to learn boundaries, because sometimes these people come in disguises. And we need to know better. We need to have our intuition up a little better so that we can know what role that person plays. And again, a lot of this too, like, it's inevitable. It is inevitable to happen the way it happens, though. So, like, even if you felt like things could have worked out a different way, or you felt like maybe if you knew something else, it could have went a different way, regardless of whatever reasoning you find, again, these contracts, we write them out. So whatever you experienced was supposed to happen. So we have to start being more accepting of our shadow side. So this can kind of pull back into the spring equinox. This winter season that we're coming out of, that was the shadow side. So you would have to experience more shadow things, more depth, more darkness, more on the healing side, getting dirty and just all up in the mix and figuring out like what needs sorting and what needs to go. So if you feel like you're off or you're not at your full potential, but not in a way like you're just not working hard enough, but it's just the energy's not there of what at least you're accustomed to, it's because of this. We were in a shadow phase for a while, and with today being the spring equinox, most of you should be feeling rejuvenated and energized. Your frequency should be a lot lighter now, because we're going to be able to start absorbing more, and with this full moon that just passed and with us being a Venus retrograde, we are releasing a lot. So that's why you would have been purging a lot and most likely very, very deep in your shadow side. So it's really important that you are very easy on yourself, and that you don't belittle yourself, and you don't set expectations like everything has to be positive all the time. Like, no, you have to go through that shadow phase. We have to. And we have to respect it. You have to be more okay with your emotions. You have to be okay with that dark side when it's time to really just internalize and go within yourself. It's okay. We have to show love to our shadow as much as we show to our light. Because without the shadow, we wouldn't even know what the light was. The shadow actually contains more light than the light, because that's where the most growth happens. So this is why things repeat. If you're not respecting that shadow aspect and you're constantly trying to fight it, and you're not accepting the healing that needs to occur, you're going to leave that relationship, but you're going to end up in another one where it repeats. And it might hit you harder this time, because the universe is like, hello, we want you to know that there's a lesson. Figure it out. Let's go. Figure it out. So it's going to repeat. It's going to repeat, and it's going to repeat, and it's going to repeat, and it's going to repeat until you finally focus on it and you're like, oh my God, what is this? Because obviously, if something is repetitive, you can't continue to blame what's on the outside. At this point, you have to ask yourself, all right, what am I doing? Or what position am I putting myself in that's putting me in this place where I'm so out of control that I just don't even know. I don't even know at this point. So you got to be easier on yourself. All of this stuff is inevitable. I don't know why I'm having so much problems with that word, but we gotta start recognizing that we have to be more observant. This is the only way. We have to become more observant. Because without this focus and paying attention to like everything that's happening in your lives, you're just gonna feel like the universe is just beating you up over and over and over. Like you're gonna just keep feeling like, why can't I find love? Why can't things just work? And it's because of these contracts. It's because they're not your twin flame. Now let's talk about twin flame and soulmate. Of course, we all won't experience a twin flame connection in every single life because your twin flame is your exact opposite. It is the split of your soul, so it is the complete opposite of your soul. A soulmate is an extension of your soul, but you guys just recycle together more often, so they can be tricky and feel like a twin flame. But that's where you need to really be honest with yourself. This is where you need to stop ignoring that intuition, that gut feeling of when someone's not the right person for you. Or when there's just something clashing you guys to be together and you have to work extra hard to make sure that the relationship stays together. Whether it's a friendship or a relationship. Whatever the case, you gotta work harder. And you just think that you're just loving hard. You just feel like you're just giving your all. You're doing what you're supposed to do. But guess what? You are actually doing what you're supposed to do. You are loving with your full potential and with everything you have. And you have to appreciate that and not be upset that you did that. But the reality is that it was meant for you to do it, but it wasn't meant for it to be with the person that you think is your forever. But that's okay. Because guess what? A person that really loves unconditionally will never regret how much they loved somebody. Which is why you have to be easier on yourself. So don't beat yourself up when you realize you did love the wrong person too much. Because there really isn't a too much, honestly. Actually, yeah, there is no too much. You can't actually love somebody too much. Because guess what? The person that's the hardest to love needs it the most. So, are we really loving too much? Are we loving enough? And that we just need to understand our relationships better and our roles better so that we don't feel so crushed when we think that this person was that person for us and then they're gone. But respect that shadow side too. Respect the hurt. Respect the pain. Because guess what? Without the pain, there ain't no gain. There isn't. There isn't. Now, the reason why I bring up soulmates and twin flames is because this is also very important. This is also very important because if you don't know that there's a difference or you don't believe in this difference, you're going to continue to beat yourself up and wonder why all these soulmate relationships are not working. But at the same time too, this also depends on if you are supposed to meet your twin flame in this lifetime. Other than that, then you'll end up with the best potential soulmate. But even with that, the whole point of this is to be very, very honest with yourself when things are working and when they feel right and when they don't. Because a lot of the times we actually have the answers and we actually know that the person is not compatible with us. But because we attach so much and we just want to live, we just want to love. So we tend to forget to be cautious, to set boundaries. And then when we get left high and dry, there's no closure, it's messy. And then you're just stuck with all this hurt and all this pain. So what do you do with it? Yeah, attach it to somebody else. This is why we need to restrict ourselves more to how much people we get involved with and how much we allow ourselves to build relationships with people without setting intentions with each other to know what intentions you both have in this relationship. Honesty is the best policy, and it could save you from a lot of confusion. It could save you from a lot of confusion. But again, this is why cycles happen. We need to be more honest. We need to be more straightforward. We need to just start bringing our relationships to a place where we can feel good enough to know that we can be honest. How about that? Let's stop making people feel bad for being honest. Just because you don't like it or because now it changes everything doesn't mean that you need to be rude or mean to that person or make them feel like they wasted their time. Because we never really actually waste time. Time doesn't exist, so what are we really wasting? Are we really wasting time, or are we just suppressing? I think we're suppressing. I think we're not facing our emotions, and we're not being realistic with ourselves. We're not being honest with ourselves. First, you gotta be honest with yourself first. Be more honest with people. It's okay, like, if you want a polygamous relationship, if you want a monogamous relationship, if you want a polyandry, you need to be okay with that first. Because if you're not, you're going to bring polygamy to monogamous relationships, and then you're going to start cheating. If you want monogamy, but you know somebody is willing and able to love multiple people, and you shame that person for cheating, knowing that that person should be in a polygamous relationship, this is why our cycles repeat. It's time to use this and this. Let's be honest. Let's express what we want from each other before we get involved with each other. Let's give each other time to develop with each other. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I do it too. And you know what it is too, especially when you're an empath, and you can feel how much love is in that person's heart, and you can see past all of this going on here. You love people so much. But as an empath, you also have to realize you are an anchor of love and light. So you are supposed to love these people the way you do. You're supposed to see past these things. This is a part of our gift. I would say it's a blessing and a curse, but it's not a curse. It's not a curse once you learn how to use it. It can never be a curse once you learn how to use it, because you will have the juice. You will be so in tuned on such a great level that you'll know when and where to put your love. You know when and where to invest it. And when you invest a lot in people that's not supposed to be with you, you feel okay about it because you understand that you're just giving that person the love that they're lacking, the love that they're seeking that they can't find right now. So it's never ever really a bad thing. Nothing's ever a bad thing. Bad things don't exist. It's our perception. It's our understanding. Also, it's all on the grand scheme, the bigger plan. There's a lot of things we won't be able to understand because we are not supposed to see it yet. So it's time to be honest. Honesty. Honesty is always going to be the best policy. I don't care what anyone says. Doesn't matter how much you hurt someone's feelings. Like, the best you can ever do is be honest, man. Like, we have to. Because the less honest we are, the more we get caught up in these cycles with people that just want to release from us or that our lessons are learned and we need to move on, but we're not allowing ourselves to move on. So this is why relationships struggle, because we know when things are supposed to end, but we keep pushing it. We keep poking. Why do we keep poking? I don't know. We like to poke. Man, relationships. But this also plays a huge part in general as well. I know I'm talking a little too much on relationships, but I think it's the Venus retrograde. It's the Venus retrograde. You know, this comes back to reflection and the lessons we have to learn from people. Like, we have to start recognizing that people are mirroring our masculine energy, people are mirroring our feminine energy, and all of this is just teaching us to center ourselves and to find a balance between both. So sometimes like the problems you have in your friendships and stuff, sometimes it's bigger than you both. Sometimes it's bigger than humanity. Sometimes it has to do with your past lives. It has to do with these karmic lessons that you need to clear, all these blockages that you need to clear from eons ago that you thought was fixed, but that's what you're here for, to fix these things. And this is where attachments, like entity attachments, happen as well. And they kind of play on these relationship problems that you think you're having. Sometimes it really is bigger than you, and sometimes these arguments and these misunderstandings with people that you love so dearly come from these attachments as well. Sometimes it's bigger than the grand scheme. Sometimes it's bigger than the karmic lessons. Sometimes there's entities attaching to you guys. Sexual entities especially. Oh, they be ready. They ready. So we need to start learning where our energy depletes and where it progresses. Because sex needs to be more sacred. Friendships and relationships need to be more sacred. Or else we lose track of our paths. Even though we never really come off course, our understanding in our mind will be off course though. And that's where we don't understand how we play parts in each other's lives. Because now you're so unfocused and you're everywhere, so you don't know. And you can't grasp what these things mean for you. So let's just sink that in for a moment. Let's just sink that in. Because I know that was a lot. That's a lot. And again, I tried to make this video short, but you know how that goes. These attachments. Sex is a very sensitive thing. It's a very, very, very opening experience for us, because you're allowing that person to fully go into your energetic field. You're sharing DNA with this person. So if you are vegan or vegetarian, I'm sorry, but if you're having sex with meat eaters, you're absorbing that. You're still absorbing that energy from those animals that you're trying to respect. So now imagine this with entities as well. If that person has a sexual entity attached to them, it'll attach to you as well. Or it'll leave them and come to you. And a lot of the times, this is where our relationship problems come from too. This is where a lot of our soulmates, these relationships where they get screwed up. And they actually become a little harder than they're supposed to. But at the same time too, it kind of all just comes to part too, where you signed up for it. So if you're supposed to go through an entity attachment, it's gonna happen. But I've actually dealt with this where a couple, I saw that they were twin flames, that everything is supposed to work out, but no matter how much they fight and they strive, they will always end up 3 steps back. But it was because of a sexual entity. It actually had nothing to do with their communication. It had nothing to do with their relationship. It was actually just the draining happening to each individual, that it wasn't allowing them to have the frequency to be vibrant, to have the frequency to love each other, to have the frequency to just be there and just, help each other heal and grow. So there's so many benefactors to why these relationships cycle and why these lessons cycle. And I would like to go even more further, but this topic, I feel, hits so many different spots. This is something I should do in a live stream. So I hope that I brought enough information for you to at least get somewhere to start. If you would like to get a little more in depth, I do offer coaching for relationships and life in general, chakra coaching as well. But before I close out, again, I just wanted to talk about spring equinox with the whole shadow phase and the light phase. Remember too that right now emotions are going to be very all over the place, but just know that this is just the shadow aspects of us trying to release the stagnant energy. So if you feel unloved, if you feel short of love, if you feel incapable of love, or if you feel like it's impossible to be loved, that is stagnant energy that does not belong to you. Let it go. If there is someone in your life, whether it's a friend, a dog, anything, they're trying to love you, let them. Let them heal that feeling of incompletion. This incompletion is also a sign that you're not being receptive. If you're not being receptive, then that means something about you too. Are you being receptive of all the love issues within yourself? Because you can love yourself and still have love issues within yourself. If you have insecurities, if you feel like you've held on baggage from past situations with family members, friends, all of the sorts. If you're still holding on to certain things, those may have blossomed into insecurities for you. And maybe that's what life's trying to get at you for. But on the bright side, it is spring. Even though there's still snow outside, it's spring. So that means more light, more sunlight, more light codes, more progression, more ascension, more life, more positivity. So I'm going to try to wrap this up now, guys, and if I left anything short for you, feel free to fall into the comments. I will try to answer you as best as possible. I hope that I got through all that I needed to the best way I could. This may be a video I might have to do a part 2, because I do want to talk more about polygamy as well, so stay tuned for that. Again, I am also taking requests on subjects. I will be doing live streams, so you will start seeing some videos fall on here. Once I start getting a steady pace, I assume I should be doing them every Friday around 9 p.m. So you will see me on Google Hangouts, and I will have them live stream over onto here as well for further viewing. So look forward to more videos. I will also be having meditation groups, vision board groups, yoga groups once the weather starts warming up. So look out for that as well. You can follow me on Instagram at queen.nefersoul. You can also find me from my crystal page, where I bring people into the lives of the people who purchase my crystals. Also just some information as well. You can find me there also at _nispo_. So the name of this channel. And I look forward to so much this year, and you should too. Like the spring equinox and all these cycles ending, just release them if they don't serve you anymore. Just release them. stop letting people make you feel obligated to them. If it's not raising your vibration and there's no more energy left for the situation, you should go. Probably shouldn't even wait till you have no more energy. Just go. If it's meant to be, it'll come back. But as of right now, don't do it to yourself. Don't do it. See, these type of videos, like, this is why I need to live stream, because I will end up talking to this camera for way too long. So, let me close out and say, I hope that we all can come together more and have more conversations. So, with these live streams, I want us to all come together more. Hopefully, I can also live stream these events that I will have, or at least put them up so you guys can interact too and have the experience too. I want us to be more interactive with each other. I want us to have more communication. So again, don't be afraid to drop comments and any questions you may have, any subjects you would like me to go on, to speak on. And I hope you guys enjoy your spring. Welcome. I hope you guys are feeling all the beautiful energy coming in. I hope you guys are just happy. I hope you guys are seeing that all of these changes and all of these cycles, they're all still illusions at the end of the day, so you don't have to allow them to control your life. You don't have to allow them to bring you down into the dumps. Again, yes, we have to respect the shadow, but respect the shadow and respect the light too, so don't let them overpower each other. Find the lessons in everything. Be more observant. Find the roles of everyone in your life. So please make that the mission you do right now. Start figuring out, even if you want to as well, you don't even have to just do that only with people. Do that with everything in your life as well. Find out all the roles everything plays, and from there start implementing them. Start understanding them. You'll find more clarity, and you'll be able to get your life in a better place, in a more flowing place, I can say. Yeah, in a more flowing place, where it's not just like you trying to figure out everything all the time, or struggling through things, or beating yourself up. Just go with the flow. Just go with the flow. And understand that we're all just here to love each other and teach each other. So anything that gets you too riled up or gets you too much on the unbalanced tip of the scale, let it go. Let it go. You'll be okay. I love you guys.